WHO labels new COVID strain Omicron as variant of concern with possible increased reinfection risk. WHO warns Omicron may spread more quickly than other forms, alerts global authorities. The variant was first reported in South Africa. Centre cautions states and union territories against the new variant of COVID-19 detected in South Africa and 2 other countries. Union Health Secretary asked all states and union territories to conduct rigorous screening and testing of all international travellers coming or transiting from affected countries. India to resume scheduled international passenger flights from December 15th. Civil Aviation Ministry says the matter of resumption of international flights was decided after consultation with concerned ministries. Passengers' capacity to be decided based on at-risk categories of countries. Serum Institute of India starts export of COVAX under the International Sharing Programme for distribution of COVID-19 vaccine to low and middle income countries. India administered nearly 121 crore vaccine doses so far. Russian President Vladimir Putin to pay an official visit to New Delhi in December. He will attend India-Russia annual summit with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The first meeting of the 2+2 dialogue between India and Russia is to be held on 6th December. In sports, New Zealand openers bring visitors back in the game, reach 129 for no loss on the second day in reply to India's 345 in the first innings of the Kanpur Test. Ace shuttler PV Sindhu storms into semi-finals of Indonesia Open tournament. Will play semi-finals against Thailand's Ratchanok Intanon today. Very good morning, I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Let's start with our top story. The World Health Organization has designated a new coronavirus strain detected in South Africa as a variant of concern, prompting countries around the world to impose travel restrictions amid fears over its potential spread. A WHO advisory panel on Friday said early evidence shows the new variant, which it dubbed Omicron after a letter in the Greek alphabet, poses an increased risk of reinfection compared with other highly transmissible strains. It was first reported to the WHO from South Africa on 24th November and has also been identified in Botswana, Belgium, Hong Kong and Israel. The WHO said it would take a few weeks to understand the impact of the new variant as scientists worked to determine how transmissible it was. The World Health Body warned that Omicron may spread more quickly than other forms.
WHO's Technical Advisory Group on Virus Evolution met to discuss the variant B11529, to discuss what we understand about this variant and if it should be classified as a variant of interest or a variant of concern. Based upon the information that we have, particularly from South Africa, they have advised WHO that this variant should be classified as a variant of concern. So today we are announcing B11529 as a variant of concern named Omicron.
And WHO in a statement said that there are a number of studies underway and the Technical Advisory Group on SARS-CoV-2 virus evolution will continue to evaluate this variant. It further said that WHO will communicate new findings with member states and to the public as needed. Meanwhile, World Health Organization's chief scientist Soumya Swaminathan in a tweet said that countries are asked to step up genomic surveillance and upload data to GISAID, which is global initiative on sharing all influenza data, undertake epidemiologic, clinical and lab studies on variant and implement proven public health measures. WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom has said that the new COVID-19 virus variant Omicron has a large number of mutations, some of which are concerning. He asked countries to speed up efforts to deliver on vaccine equity ASAP and protect the most vulnerable everywhere. The discovery of a new coronavirus variant triggered global alarm on Friday as countries rushed to suspend travel from Southern Africa. The UK has banned flights from South Africa while the EU seeks to stop air travel from South Africa over COVID variant. The Czech government announces a 30-day COVID state of emergency. While Israel too banned arrivals from most of Africa, Asian stocks dropped sharply over fears of new virus variant.
Many countries around in Europe and other parts of the world have tightened their travel restrictions after South African scientists announced to have detected a new COVID-19 variant in small numbers. Early signs from diagnostic laboratories suggest the variant has rapidly increased in the most populated province of Gauteng and may already be present in the country's other 8 provinces. South Africa has confirmed around 100 specimens as B11529, but the variant has also been found in Botswana and Hong Kong, with the Hong Kong case a traveller from South Africa. Scientists believe that as many as 90% of new cases in Gauteng could be B11529.
Here is now a mutation, a variant of serious concern, which is now driving this spike in numbers.
Following confirmation of new COVID-19 variant, EU Commissioner Chief Ursula von der Leyen said that the European Union aims to halt air travel from the southern African region amid rising concern about a new COVID-19 variant detected in South Africa.
We're taking the news about the new highly mutated COVID-19 variant very seriously. All air travel to these countries should be suspended. They should be suspended until we have a clear understanding about the danger posed by this new variant. And travellers returning from this region should respect strict quarantine rules.
While Britain temporarily banned flights from South Africa, Namibia, Botswana, Zimbabwe, Lesotho and Eswatini from Friday and asked returning British travellers from those destinations to quarantine. Britain said it was concerned by a newly identified coronavirus variant spreading in South Africa on Thursday, the 25th of November, which might make vaccines less effective and imperil progress made across the world in fighting the pandemic.
Our scientists are deeply concerned about this variant. I'm concerned, of course, and that's one of the reasons we've taken this action today. I will say we don't know enough about this variant. No one does. I think probably the UK knows more than most because of the excellent work we do on surveillance. But I think it is right that we take this approach and we remain cautious.
New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern said her country is well prepared for the discovery of new coronavirus variants that may be resistant to vaccines.
All of our planning around COVID, we have built into it the possibility of variants in the future. And so that is why we're maintaining levels of public health protections. It's why we've maintained requirements at our border, and it's also why we continue to have available to us what we call our alert level system.
Meanwhile, Portugal announced it would reimpose restrictions to stop a surge in cases, ordering all passengers flying into the country to show a negative test certificate on arrival. In wake of transmission of the highly mutated COVID-19 variant, Centre on Thursday asked states strictly screen and test travellers arriving from South Africa, Hong Kong and Botswana. Union Health Secretary Rajesh Bhushan, in a letter written to the Additional Chief Secretaries, Principal Secretary and Secretary Health of all states as well as Union territories, said this variant is reported to have a significantly high number of mutations and thus has serious public health implications for the country in view of recently relaxed visa restrictions and opening up of international travel.
The United States joined EU nations in restricting flights from Southern Africa over new coronavirus variant. The United States will bar entry to most travelers from 8 Southern African countries starting Monday. Flights from South Africa, Botswana, Zimbabwe, Namibia, Lesotho, Eswatini, Mozambique and Malawi would be blocked after a potentially more contagious new coronavirus variant was identified in South Africa.
I've decided that we're going to be cautious, make sure there's no travel to and from South Africa and 6 other countries in that region, and except for American citizens who are able to come back. But we don't know a lot about the variant except that it is a great concern. It seems to spread rapidly, and I've spent about a half hour this morning with my COVID team led by Dr. Fauci, and so that was the decision we made.
Government has allowed the resumption of scheduled commercial international passenger services with effect from 15th December. There will be a calibrated resumption of operations from the countries recognized as at risk by Ministry of Health. The latest order says that the suspension on international commercial passengers services to and from India, which came in effect on 23rd March 2020, has been reviewed. The competent authority has decided to resume the commercial passenger services with effect from 15 December 2021. This would also imply reversion of bilaterally agreed capacity entitlements and termination of air bubble arrangements. Due to the prevailing condition of COVID-19, the capacity entitlements shall be as per the categories of countries based on enlistment of countries at risk. Serum Institute of India, the manufacturer of COVID-19 vaccine Covishield, has resumed its export to low and middle income countries under the COVAX framework. The resumption of Covishield exports is linked to Serum Institute of India surpassing its original target to produce 1 billion doses of the vaccine by the end of this year. Exports under COVAX, the global vaccine sharing program co-headed by the World Health Organization, was suspended by Serum Institute of India in March this year as India was hit by a fierce second wave of the pandemic. The vaccine stock was being prioritized to inoculate the country's population. In September, however, the centre allowed the resumption of vaccine exports. The decision came amid a decline in the country's active caseload, the dwindling rate of infection and significant coverage of the eligible population under the country's vaccination program. The government allows Serum Institute to export 50 lakh Covishield doses under COVAX to 4 nations. According to SII, its supplies under COVAX facility would increase substantially into the first quarter of 2022. Well, now an update on nationwide COVID-19 vaccination drive. With the administration of 65 lakh 23,396 vaccine doses in the last 24 hours, India's COVID-19 vaccination coverage has exceeded 120.96 crore landmark. 120 crore 96 lakh 90,961 vaccine doses have been administered across the country so far. Out of the total vaccination, more than 77.86 crore vaccine doses have been given as first dose, while over 43 crore doses have been administered as the second dose. In Rajasthan, after a fresh surge in COVID-19 cases there, the State Home Department has issued new guidelines. Both the doses of COVID-19 vaccine have been made mandatory for the academic and non-teaching staff of all educational institutions in the new guidelines. Now it will be mandatory for all the students to take written permission from their parents or guardian before joining educational institutions. As per new guidelines, educational institutions are not allowed to force the students to attend offline classes. The schools will also have to continue the facility of online teaching for the children. Any gathering along with prayer meetings will not be allowed, while school canteens will also be closed till further orders. A joint enforcement team of district administration, police and municipal corporation will be formed to ensure strict compliance of COVID appropriate behavior at public places. Now let's take a look at updates on COVID-19 from across the globe. COVID-19 cases swiftly soar across the world. So far, the world has registered over 26 crore 8 lakh cases of the disease, while the number of recoveries stand above 23 crore and 56 lakh. More than 52 lakh 5,000 lives have been lost globally due to the pandemic, and the US continues to remain worst affected with COVID-19. The country has registered more than 4 crore 90 lakh cases of the disease, with death toll surpassing 7,99,000. Meanwhile, the European countries have again been witnessing a boom in COVID-19 cases, with UK registering the highest number of cases in the continent. The country has more than 1,70,000 cases of COVID-19, followed by France that has over 75,51,000 cases. Germany trails behind France, registering more than 56,95,000 cases, while Italy has also been seeing a spike where the number of cases stand above 49,82,000. And amid a surge in COVID-19 cases and the detection of the new variant in South Africa, the US President Joe Biden said that his administration is not considering new vaccine mandates. The president has urged eligible Americans to get themselves vaccinated. The recent discovery of a new coronavirus variant named Omicron has triggered global alarm as countries rush to suspend travel from Southern Africa, and stock markets on both sides of the Atlantic suffered their biggest falls in more than a year.
Every American who's not been vaccinated should be responsible to be vaccinated from age 5 years and up, number one. Number two, everyone eligible for the booster shot should get the booster shot immediately upon being eligible. That is a minimum that everyone should be doing. And we always talk about whether this is about freedom. I think it's a patriotic responsibility.
Moving further, Russian President Vladimir Putin will pay an official visit to New Delhi on 6 December for the 21st India-Russia Annual Summit with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The leaders will review the state and prospects of bilateral relations and discuss ways to further strengthen the strategic partnership between the two countries. The summit will also afford an opportunity to exchange views on regional, multilateral and international issues of mutual interest.
The President of the Russian Federation, His Excellency Mr. Vladimir Putin, will pay an official visit to New Delhi on 6th December 2021 for the 21st India-Russia Annual Summit with Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi. The last India-Russia Annual Summit was held in September 2019 during the visit of Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi to Vladivostok in Russia. The leaders will review the state and prospects of bilateral relations and discuss ways to further strengthen the strategic partnership between our two countries. The summit will afford an opportunity to exchange views on regional, multilateral and international issues of mutual interest.
And the first meeting of the 2+2 dialogue between India and the Russian Federation at the level of foreign and defence ministers will be held in New Delhi on 6 December. Raksha Mantri Rajnath Singh and External Affairs Minister Dr. Subramaniam Jaishankar will represent the Indian side in the dialogue. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov and the Russian Defence Minister Sergei Shoigu will be visiting New Delhi on 5th and 6th December for the 2+2 dialogue.
The first meeting of the 2+2 dialogue between India and the Russian Federation at the level of foreign and defence ministers will be held in New Delhi on 6th December this year. Honorable Raksha Mantri Shri Rajnath Singh and Honorable External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar will represent the Indian side in the dialogue. Russian Foreign Minister His Excellency Mr. Sergei Lavrov and the Russian Defence Minister His Excellency Mr. Sergei Shoigu will be visiting New Delhi on 5th and 6th of December for this 2+2 dialogue. The agenda for the dialogue will cover political and defence issues of mutual interest. The establishment of this new mechanism of a 2+2 dialogue is expected to further strengthen the strategic partnership between our two countries.
External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar chaired the 18th meeting of the Foreign Ministers of Russia, India, China. He highlighted a number of issues including Afghanistan, Myanmar, UN reform and fight against terrorism. Dr. S. Jaishankar said that Afghan territory must not be used for terror activities by terrorist groups like Lashkar-e-Taiba, Jaish-e-Mohammed, etc. And India has offered wheat supply to Afghanistan as a humanitarian gesture, and such assistance must be facilitated without hindrance or politicization. RAC countries should coordinate respective approaches on the threats of terrorism, radicalization, drug trafficking, etc.
In line with our commitment to the well-being of Afghan people, we have offered supply of 50,000 metric tons of wheat to Afghanistan to address the drought situation. RIC countries need to work together to ensure that humanitarian assistance reaches the Afghan people without hindrance and without politicization.
And now it is time for our daily report on the ongoing International Film Festival of India. Our correspondent Rukma Datta gives us Friday's action.
As closing day for the 52nd edition of IFFI draws near, events at the venue in Goa continue at a hectic pace. On Friday, as India celebrated Constitution Day, senior officials and other eminent dignitaries participated in a solemn pledge taking ceremony at the venue of the 52nd edition of IFFI also. A number of industry heavyweights were seen at the festival this year participating in various events. On Friday, actress Raveena Tandon made an appearance on the inauguration of a masterclass on her OTT series Aranyak. Her appearance on the red carpet with other members of the team was greeted by a huge press and public presence eagerly waiting for a glimpse of the star.
Since the time IFFI has taken birth, it has always provided a great platform and opportunities for filmmakers across the globe. And yes, there is that infusion of youth that we will be seeing and the master classes that are being imparted onto them. I think it's a great place for learning, for absorbing, and then of course exploring what cinema has in store for us.
All in all, it was another packed day at the IFFI venue in Goa, as crowds lined up to watch the films on show and filmmakers mingled with counterparts from various countries to share thoughts and exchange ideas. Rukma Datta for DD India.
India's glorious freedom struggle is one of the greatest struggles the modern world has ever witnessed. In today's episode, we will remember a great freedom fighter and first Speaker of Lok Sabha, Ganesh Vasudev Mavlankar, who was born on 27th November 1888. We'll also remember renowned Hindi poet Harivansh Rai Bachchan, who was born on 27th November 1907.
In today's episode, we remember freedom fighter and first Speaker of Lok Sabha, Ganesh Mavlankar, who was born on 27th of November 1888. As Speaker of the first Lok Sabha of a newborn nation, Mavlankar's role was not merely that of a moderator and facilitator of its proceedings, but of a statesman and a founding father invested with the responsibility to establish rules, procedures, conventions and customs that suited the ethos of India.
Born in Baroda, Gujarat, Mavlankar was a lawyer by profession and also took keen interest in social work, which brought him in contact with eminent national leaders like Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel and Mahatma Gandhi. He played an active role in the freedom movement in Gujarat and was imprisoned several times and spent nearly 6 years in jail.
Mavlankar dedicated himself to the affairs of Ahmedabad municipality for nearly 2 decades and was elected to the then Bombay Legislative Assembly representing the city of Ahmedabad in 1937. He was elected to preside over the Central Legislative Assembly in 1946.
Mavlankar was elected to the office of Speaker of the Constituent Assembly Legislative on the 17th of November 1947. And with the adoption of the Constitution of Free India on the 26th of November 1949, Mavlankar became the Speaker of the Provisional Parliament and continued to occupy the office of the Speaker till the first Lok Sabha was constituted in 1952.
During this time, Mavlankar ensured that all the rules, practices, procedures and conventions necessary for the smooth functioning of a representative parliament in the country were put in place before the elections to the first Lok Sabha were completed in the country in 1951-52. No one was therefore surprised when Mavalankar was chosen as the Speaker of the first Lok Sabha of independent India on 15th of May 1952.
During his tenure as a Speaker of Lok Sabha, Mavalankar introduced several new rules and procedures and also modified the existing ones to suit the new conditions. On his initiative, the question hour became a regular and meaningful feature of parliamentary sessions. Devices like short notice questions and half-an-hour discussions were introduced to make the government truly accountable to the parliament.
The discussion on President's address on a motion of thanks was started by him to ensure independence and supremacy of parliament in the system of government. Mavalankar envisioned an independent Secretariat of Parliament directly under the control of the presiding officer.
Mavalankar's speakership was cut short abruptly by his untimely death on the 27th of February 1956 in Ahmedabad. Through 5 decades of selfless service, Ganesh Vasudev Mavalankar has left a deep imprint of his personality on the office of the Speaker and on the Parliament of India. We salute this great Indian.
Today, we also remember renowned Hindi poet Harivansh Rai Bachchan, who was born on 27th of November 1907. Father of legendary actor Amitabh Bachchan, Harivansh Rai grew up during a time when India was striving for its freedom against British imperialism and was influenced by the Gandhian philosophy of non-violence. Let us remember him through his poem Azadi Ke Geet, dedicated to India's independence on 15th of August 1947.
हम ऐसे आजाद हमारा झंडा है बादल, चांदी सोने हीरे मोती से सस्ती गुड़ियां, इनसे आतंकित करने की बीत गई घड़ियां, इनसे सज धज बैठा करते जो हैं कठपुतले, हमने तोड़ अभी फेंकी हैं बेड़ी हथकड़ियां, परंपरागत पुरखों की हमने जागृत की फिर से, उठा शीश पर रखा हमने हिम किरीट उज्ज्वल, हम ऐसे आजाद हमारा झंडा है बादल, चांदी सोने हीरे मोती से सजवा छाते, जो अपने सिर धरवाते थे वे अब हैं शर्माते, फूल कली बरसाने वाली टूट गई दुनिया, फूल कली बरसाने वाली टूट गई दुनिया, वज्रों के वाहन अंबर में निर्भय गहराते, इंदिरा युद्ध भी एक बार जो हिम्मत से उठे, छत्र हमारा निर्मित करते 60 कोटि करतल, हम ऐसे आजाद हमारा झंडा है बादल, हम ऐसे आजाद हमारा झंडा है बादल।
Some sports news now. In Kanpur cricket test, New Zealand were 129 for no loss against India in the first innings on the second day at Green Park Stadium. Will Young with 75 and Tom Latham with 50 runs were at the crease when the stumps were drawn. The visitors now trail by 216 runs. In the first innings, India posted 345 runs. Debutant Shreyas Iyer was the top scorer for the hosts with 105 runs, supported well by Ravindra Jadeja, who scored a 50. In badminton, Indian shuttlers had a good day at the Indonesian Open Badminton 2021 in Bali on Friday. The reigning world champion PV Sindhu raced into semis of the women's singles event of the tournament, beating Korea's Sim Yujin 14-21, 21-19, 21-14. She will face second seed Ratchanok Intanon of Thailand in the semi-finals today. Well, that's all we have in this news bulletin. You stay tuned for more news and updates. Namaskar.